I'm a master support player and I got coaching from former ranked number 1 SAMITO on exactly how to hit grandmaster. As an old tank player, I picked up support just a couple of months ago, and I make the most common support mistakes that a lot of you guys probably do too. In this video, SAMITO points out all of my meta rank habits, the first of which focuses on my cooldown usage.
And you can poke out the Orisa, build up some health. When you see that Rhine going low, like what's key about BAP shift is you always want to use it as the big fight starting, right? So your Rhine's going in here and you're doing good poke. Actually, I don't think it was bad. You saw him crit and popped it. That's okay. Just be ready to drone him. Like, I always like to aggro drone, right? See, I was a little bit late.
Yeah.
Right? Well, the one thing with drone, you don't actually have to hold it until, like, he's already in. Like, I like to use it like moth to a flame is what I like to describe it. Because think about this. If you throw it forward early, especially in a fight, you're already up, right? You're already up. You just want to keep the snowball on the resources. The only way you lose this is actually if you let your Rhine die.
Yeah.
So if he's going in, I'm charging it. I'm, like, tossing my drone in early. Because what's going to happen is, instead of shooting your Rhine, they're going to shoot the drone. And while they shoot the drone, you heal your Rhine. And the Rhine gets the spacing that he needs either way. And he's going to get a kill or two.
Yep. But
now your Mercy has to go up and do a really aggressive res, and she has to trade out. And you end up winning the fight anyway, but there are some times where that gets turned.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
And you can just toss it in and not lose anybody. And again, it's all about minimizing the chance to make mistakes in this game. And again, it's not necessarily about that like individual mistake. It's about like being able to dictate how the game flows, especially as like supports with those big impact cooldowns. Like using them, the earlier you use them, generally, at least in lower ranks, like again, when you get up to like GM and like top 500, then you got to know when to use it perfectly, right? But
yeah,
in order to get to that point, it's more so about burning them, and your timing's way more forgiving. What am I watching this Mercy do? I'm glad that she healed your Widow through the damage orb. And honestly, I'd ult this Moira, because she's going to ult you. Yeah. You see him pull up, right? And you're jumping out. This is good. Like, you can just ult him, right? You see him coming. Because here's the key thing to think about, right? Once the cart gets to this point, right? Look at where it is here. There's 2 fights on this point. If they hold you here, it backs up to 2-fight territory. If you win and get a kill here, you keep pushing around to 1-fight territory, right? So like this is a really, really high impact place on the map. If they win this fight, they'll be able to hold you through an extra ult cycle. If you win it just by burning 1 ult, you push through, and then it's only a 1-fight territory like win. And like so these middle points on escort maps are insanely important to actually like win if you can win them cheap with just 1 ult. Because that's why that Moira ulted you, right?
Yeah.
So he bought 2 fights worth of ults just to win that. And then look, you guys are gonna have to back now. Oh my god. That's a play. And I'd ult him here too, honestly. If you're not confident you can kill him, I think you get him anyway. And now you get on cart. Drone your buddy though is what you probably need to be looking to do here, just to be safe. Because again, you're gonna get another one by the next big fight. What is your Cassidy doing? Oh my god. But yeah, definitely be looking up and trying to drone them earlier. See, that's why. See how your Zarya kind of backed out of the main area because he was like nervous. If you droned earlier, he would have been able to stay in your line of sight too, right?
Okay.
And take the high ground. I want like definitely look to use those like a lot more aggressively. Like I'd be tossing mine out because again, what they're gonna see is they're gonna lose spacing, right? And dictating spacing with big cooldowns like that helps you climb so much. And you shouldn't always do that, but it's important to think about that because that's another way to use the tool, and it's another weapon in your arsenal to control the game as support, a role that most people don't think they can actually control.
Yeah, that's definitely like coming from playing tank in Overwatch 1. Like I understand that as a concept, but I've never thought about doing that kind of with Lamp specifically on support.
Use those big support abilities in anticipation of what's about to happen, not when it's happening. Like you should be using it anticipating what's about to happen. That's that line of thinking. It helps in general with most roles, but especially with the heroes like BAP and even Onanate are a lot like that too, where you know, Moira heal orb, like the earlier you use them right before something's about to happen, the better. See, you started this point. If you had ulted that Moira or like kind of been able to go up with your team, you started that point with 3 minutes and 30 seconds, right?
Yeah, I knew when you said it, like what's about to happen in this fight, so like it completely made sense at that point.
Yeah. And guess what? 3 minute 30-second hold. This fight could have been won here.
Yeah, for sure.
This fight could have been won here, like twice.
Yeah, completely get it.
And this is what people don't understand. That's why, like, whenever I be streaming, get mad at somebody for not ulting in that situation. How many times have you seen people get stuck for 3.5 minutes on this point exactly?
Yeah.
Right. And the difference is, this Moira comes to you on point, I'm ulting him. Like he ulted, like, that's why he ulted you. I'm just ripping this. Like, you want to try it? That's fine. Popping my shift, killing him, buying time, ulting him, and you trade. Because here's the thing: you trade ult for ult, and you're probably gonna win that. And your Mercy can turn around, your team can turn around, and then he's dead. You're right. Your teammate, your duo needed to peel back. To be honest with you, your duo should have peeled back to cart. But either way, that's like the main gist of it. He's like, you know, that hold costs you guys a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the first major difference between a master and grandmaster support player. Always anticipating situations where you may need to use your cooldowns and ultimate, and being less afraid to actually use them. Most support players tend to react to situations with these abilities, but if you're looking to rank up, you should really be anticipating a situation and using these resources earlier. Doing so can be the complete difference in winning or losing points, and will ensure that you don't get held for almost 4 minutes on Hollywood seconds like we did here. As we move on to defending after a rocky attack, let's take a look at how a ranked number 1 player thinks about positioning.
The Ashe pick's also very good because they don't have a shield. But careful with the DPS, right? Because see what's going to happen there is your soldier's going to die, right? But their BAP's going to die. I think you're playing a little too close too. Like you're playing. See, you can play BAP from range, but you're in their brawl range. Like look at your positioning here. Everything that you need to do, you can do from here. And
it is so funny you say that because I recognize it. My Mercy reses me here, and that's how I play the rest of this fight.
Yeah.
So
good.
like, it's getting that first, right, and not having to die to recognize.
You're playing like
that.
a tank. That's your line of thinking. You're playing like a tank instead of like a support. But you kind of get it. Luckily, your Ashe to get a big kill there. But yeah, I take it you do probably die here because she just spears you out. It forces both of your cooldowns early, and you're just dead, right?
And it forces res for my Mercy.
Yeah,
as well.
and it forces res for your Mercy, and their Ashe is gonna die now. Right? Oh no, he's gonna get out just barely. He's lucky he got out, honestly. You guys are still gonna be able to win because they lost their BAP, but again, that's not a shoe-in. That is most certainly not a shoe-in. Your soldier's back too. There's a Mei no ice. When you hear that Mei use the ice block behind you, look at what they've got on you, right? She's either duo's gonna kill him, but the one thing that you need to avoid is like getting pinched, right? Your Ryan luckily chased the Mei down and killed her, but look at all the angles they have on you compared to what you have to them. You guys are shooting a straight line and they have you completely surrounded, right? And that's like you never want those situations to happen. Like again, I talk about like creating angles all the time and creating crossfires. That's the most important thing to do in Overwatch. It was like the first thing I was taught when playing pro is create a crossfire every fight. Don't let them create the crossfire. You know, this is good. That's a good shift there. Don't be scared to drone your Ryan early if he's going to be getting low because they're going to be chasing him out, right? And now you guys look. Oh my God! What do you? I guess your soldier got a slightly better angle. I think your soldier goes high here. And look at this. This is the kind of stuff. This is a really risky position for him. But look at this. Look what happens to this Orisa and the Pharah. This time you've split them, and you guys had all dropped back over this way. Your Ashe probably should have stayed here, and the soldier should have gone there. But like you also can be a part of the triangle that I like to describe, where it's like ideally 1, 2, 3. What's in the middle of that triangle?
The Orisa.
The Orisa. What happens to her?
Gone.
Cut. She's dead. There's literally nothing that she can do there, right? She's just done. She's just done. And now the Pharah split, and then after that you turn back around. Oh no, yeah, you drone him for sure. Nice. Nice. That's a great drone right there. That's a great drone right there. See how it kind of drew the aggro for half a second too, and then saved your guy? That's the kind of the stuff you want to do. Now you have your window, they use theirs, and they have their big ult fight. I'd probably do it from here, bait them in. Like your teammates can play up there because they're going to use their ults to engage. You know they're going to do it. So you want to try to catch as many of them as you can in your window, right? So if you window from here and they Kitsune down main, they're walking through a big burst of damage. This is fine too, but it's a harder angle. If you're setting up your DPS and you've communicated it, that's fine, right? As long as you do it together, that's good. But if you want to min-max and maximize the usage, using it on these wide line of sights.
I think what you said is exactly what I do.
I hope you do, because that would be a really smart angle. Because, like, listen, your teammates can draw out the aggro up top, and your Ashe should come to you, and your soldier can stay up there. But the second they start using their ults, or you think something's going to be lost, that's when you got to go. That's good. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. And see the Mei ends up dying. And then Kitsune too, well, down one. That's what people will do in Masters, right? Like, they'll just, or Diamond as well. They'll just use their ults. Why your Ashe is on a low ground, I will never understand. But look at your soldier trying to shoot through this. And look at what you guys have made here. Like, they're stuck in Narnia.
Yeah. Your
Ryan is going deep, and you can heal him. He's forced the BAP out, and look at this. This is a bit of a triangle. Like, it's not a full perfect angle, but he's zoned this guy out, and after he zones them out, and you guys are shooting them, he just turns back around and you pinch them, right? You see how it's at least a 2-point pinch instead of a 3-point? And that still works great, right? And thinking about those angles and that setup is literally, like, I kid you not, I'm thinking about that every second of every game.
Okay.
You can't really vocalize that. But look, you force the Wraith.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I haven't really played much DPS. When I do play DPS, that's one of the things that I recognize. But again, it's transferring those skills onto all roles, right?
Yeah, and it's just you guys. Well, the only thing that changes when you swap roles is your position on that triangle, right? That's all, and that's an easy way to think about it. And again, that's that global game knowledge. It's let me be rank 1 combined all the time, right? Because it's just I understand each role's position and I swap to play it. And once you learn that game sense, it helps you a ton. They finally have figured out where to go. They finally figured out after 3 minutes to go high ground.
Yeah.
Which is scary because you guys kind of let them up there. And then you get pinched out. Oh no. Oh no, that'll do it. Your Ryan needed to rotate up there or rotate to you guys. Ash is low. You gotta be trying to get to your Ash or your Ryan or somebody here. And they use their window. Careful taking the poke. Your Ryan needs to get out of the corner. He needs to be LOSing that and giving ticks, but at that point it's already too late. And you guys lost that because you kind of let them rotate. Your Ash should have been up top with you poking them out with your soldier, and she dropped off to a bad spot. And your Ryan needed to just anchor the point, right? Or come to you guys. Like your Ryan could just sit like right down here and you guys just hide. There's not much you can do there. Like honestly, a 3-minute hold on Hollywood is not terrible. This is the key though. You need to get a good one here. But your soldier and Mercy are really far forward. And again, it's the most important thing is that you're not dying first on support. Your Mercy has been kind of the one costing you this game, to be honest with you. And now where it's at, it's still kind of one fight territory at this point. But you can try to ult this if you want to, but you should be playing the high grounds much better. That's an okay ult. Drone him, and that Orisa should die for sure. Your team should be all turning for that Orisa. Nice. But they're still fighting. This is like a very, like, this happens in Master or Diamond where people don't reset. Like, think about how much time you could take off the clock just by waiting, right? At this point, just back up and wait. Don't use anything. Now, the problem is they have 4 ults now, right? They windowed early. That's so good. See, you forced one early. Now, your Ryan needs to be back. At the second they window, he can't stay in there. He cannot stay in there. Oh, my. There's no way that... That should not happen. He needs to be backing because there's the blizzard, and you have to anticipate the blizzard too. See, this is what we talked about. You're too far forward, and you could be on the high grounds, right? And if you're on the high grounds, you live that. That was so risky from your Ryan. He's gonna get res, but he'll get res either way if you live that. See? But now what's really gonna hurt your team is that you lose this forward setup that's buying you these fights because you died. Mm-hmm. But you did listen. You got what you needed to there in that you made it. Oh God, your Ryan needs to back up. You made it, like, you bought out all their big ult fights, and you made it last fight when they had 4 ults and didn't let them layer it properly. But you could, like, look at this. Everything that you were doing that fight, you could have done from right where you're standing right now.
Yeah.
And you would have been fine. And so what if they go high ground, right? And now that's a good entry kill, and be ready to drone him early. There, nice, good. And look at that, she's just done. You have a Bob there, you have all the stuff there. This Reaper is just sitting. Yeah, dude, I don't know what that guy was doing. And then there's the visor. That's GG. A couple close calls. I think the main thing that you need to work on is that positioning we talked about, where you're starting to recognize it well. It's just you have tank brain, is what we like to call it.
Yeah. He's right. I do have a little bit of tank brain, and I do like standing as close as possible on BAP for some reason. But I think most support players fall into this habit too. As Sam said, as a support player, it's most important to not die first. Being up on high grounds or just further back in general makes you a little harder to reach for a lot of your enemies, and could have prevented a lot of my deaths here. In this next game, it really becomes clear how I could have saved both myself and my teammates by just standing a little further back.
So your Ryan's going to point. When they start going to point, you can walk. And look at that BAP. Yeah, he's kind of, yeah, if your own gets forced, you back your Ryan out, have him save his stuff, and you're saving your shift, which is great. Again, you want to use that the big impact moment. The thing about your positioning here for a second, though, like you get that kill. Do you need to be here where the Sig can poke you? Or can you be on top here, like taking an off angle? And look at this, like again, look at your angles here. Like as BAP, you have a ton of mobility. Imagine if you got to go to here, especially after a kill. Right? If you guys all stack up for the Sig, what's his ult charge at? He's only at 32. Luckily, he's missing everything. But again, this is a great angle for you to take and like rotate to a soft off angle, right? You can't go behind them, obviously, but you don't need to be hard stack with your team. You can do a little bit of this and see how this is still kind of a crossfire. Only when you're up one, though. When you get the entry kill, you can take a way more aggressive angle on that triangle. You react to the Hanzo. Your Ryan's in. Don't be scared to drone him back there just to make sure to secure it, right? Close. A little late, in my opinion. A little late. You got it right, though. You got it right, though. A little late. Because, again, when you're up one, what are you going to need to use that drone for? Like, what could you possibly have to use the drone for? Here's what you use it for. You toss it as bait for your Ryan to just go in. Like, at least, again, when you get up to GM, it might be a different conversation. But in Diamond Masters, he's low on armor. Toss it. He can swing fearlessly. Has a chance to stabilize, and I guarantee you they're all shooting.
Especially early fights, right? When there's like nothing else. Like, what all are they going to use? I need to lamp or something, right?
Yeah. What else could they possibly make you use your ammo for there, right? And the answer is nothing.
Yeah.
It gives you time to actually rotate in there and get the extra heals on them for window. But again, you got to play back like a safety, and a safety in football plays, and again, because they could shoot you from kitchen, right? A safety from football would play right here, because look at this. You have cover from this side. You have full line of sight, and you can kind of corner peek this and strafe. I'm not sure if he actually ends up killing you here, but if you're jumping...
He does hit me, so it's interesting that you say that. You have like the already foresight to see that caster who's going to shoot me.
Yeah, it's again, like I see the entire game at angles 24/7. I talk about the triangles, right? I'm aware of what angles can be. So you're still way too far forward here. I think you are way too far forward. You should be way back here, because look, guess where you cover from here? You cover this, you cover that, you cover this. You cover the whole map, but if you're here, you're easy to get shot from here. You have a long rotate without speed. Right? You're just you're tanking right now. You're playing tank. You shouldn't be playing tank. Let's see what happens. And now he blades, and look at where you are. Your soldier dies where you would have been in space to save him. And now there's a Genji blading on top of you. Luckily, that ult is terrible, and you're able to trade out. But if that ult was half decent, like what is this Genji blade if you're here? Say he goes on your soldier. He's windowed with a soldier shooting him and a drone, and your Kiri can shoot him in the back and TP and cleanse you. And look at this. They can't push at all, right? So that's on you that your soldier dies there because your setup was bad expecting the blade. Now they have their window. So what's going to happen if you play close? Oh my God, his window was so... Thankfully, his window was bad. But what's... Like, you see how close you are to everything? You're just way too close here. And there's the beat. And now what do you do? Oh, your Hanzo's run over. And now you look at this rotate you have to do without speed when they have speed.
Yeah, it's tough.
You're lucky that you lived, honestly, because they're all chasing your Rhine. And again, in that situation, if you play back, you force their ults early, you kite out, and you recontest later, like your Rhine's doing right now. Except if you had been back with your team, you might have been able to save a couple of them and gotten this recontest off better. And then there's the flux. You force, what, 5 ults out of them? You force 5 ults for 1% of the fight. And then look, you're already halfway to your next window. So you play for the next cycle. That's good. You're just playing too far forward a lot of the time.
Got it. So, like, in my mind, it's because, like, I'm way more, consistent to keep my Rhine up with cooldowns, especially. But also with, like, damage fall-off and stuff. That's kind of... I guess that's why I'm in that habit.
Your damage fall-offs, your damage useless against ultimates. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. What's the Genji has to get on top of you to blade. That you're not gonna pierce a beat. You're not gonna outduel a window. You're not gonna outduel a flux. Like your damage is kind of useless as a BAP unless it's a neutral one-on-one. And the ult fights are neutral. And if you're standing here, if your Rhine gets low, he's gonna kite back to you. If you really need to walk up 2 steps to shift him, you can. But you can also toss your drone like pretty far, right? And if he's gonna die anyway, he's gonna die because you're going into neutral against 4 ults. So. I mean, if he dies, he dies, and then you're able to kite back and live on your own and potentially force more ults, exactly like that flux where you almost died. You were really close. You're like 52 health, right? You barely made it out, and the higher up you go in the ranks, you will die there. And because you didn't, you recontested point with your Reinhardt and forced their flux, which gives you an opportunity this fight to come in and win. So we'll see. But again, like you can toss that drone from far, and your shift is more so a tool for yourself. Like you should be able to keep your Rhine up with your other support from range just as well as you are up close. And your team's in. Maybe your Rhine can turn this. Interesting commit. I'm not against it. Nice shift. Don't be scared of drone. It will break theirs. Your Rhine's just swinging in air, unfortunately. That's good heals. That soldier should die. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And that's where you probably should have looked to use your drone in that fight, by the way. Remember what we talked about?
Yeah, I see it in hindsight now. When my 2 of my teammates are there, but I still have drone alive, like that's a mistake, right?
I toss it forward on your Rhine when they get to the... Now, your Rhine just kind of stops. He doesn't swing at the drone for some reason. He missed it twice. I don't know what. I don't know what he's doing. Imagine if you drone here. What does your Rhine do? He walks, and they get what happens in them.
Well, they move back, right? Yeah.
They back up, and then what do you do?
Forward. Yeah.
You walk in with your Hanzo. Even if you're down a player, you still probably get a kill. You like the worst thing you could do is hold it here.
Okay.
And you probably when your teammates get advisor and you see them crit, you probably drone them there.
Yeah.
Because then your Hanzo lives, and then guess what? Your 4v4, your Kiriko lives, and now actually you're up one. You're even. You're 4v4.
Winnable, right?
They have no ults. What do you have? Window. Win the game.
Gotcha.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, that's a really good point on that, because this is a moment where, again, in VC with my tank here, we're both like, it's one of those ones where I wonder, like, what can I do to win that? But like looking back at it, like there is opportunity to save that, right?
Yeah, just use the drone, use the resource, right? The big mistake these kids make is they just hold drone forever, and it's like when are you gonna like just use it, right? He wastes window, because you get it back every 25 seconds. So dude, your team just continues to peak this main. He is Louise, and that's why you need to use something first, right? If you use something first, your teammates don't have the opportunity to throw, right? And that's how you can carry games. Careful crossing, and see how they get started using. And you've had this window all the time. You've had the chance to use it, right? Since, oh my God, what am I watching? Let's watch this out first. That's great damage from you. That was way too close. You let them do an entire ult cycle on you, and that is on you.
Okay.
Right? Because you guys were up 99-0, and you went all the way to the next 99 before using a big impact drone or a big impact window. And you edge it out, but that's only because you guys won the first couple fights. So that's what you can do better, is just burn. Don't be scared to burn. That's what I tell people all the time. Burn, 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 burn.
Okay, that's good, yeah.
No fear, man. No fear.
At this point, everything is kinda coming full circle. I suffer from 2 key problems that plague a lot of support players, being too close to the fight and being a little too slow on the cooldown and ultimate usage. These are issues that may not seem too bad to have at first, but this next round really showcases how it affects my gameplay in ways I hadn't really considered before.
Let's see this map. And I love this charge from your Rhine. That's what he should do. And then you can drone him when he, yeah, perfect. Don't be scared to use that shift though, especially when you're half health, right? Try to get your Ryan in that too. You're holding a little too long.
Yeah.
You're holding way too long because now he's crit. He would have been full health and not having to waste his shield. But do you see how? You see, look at this. Look at your Ryan's health pool and think about it like this. Ready? You shift your Ryan here. We're gonna watch from his POV. Your Ryan's at 342. He's got what's his shield at? 646 shield. If you shift him here, he'll be healing up to 450 where his armor is. And if he's up to there, he can swing, and that gives his shield time to regen. Because you didn't shift him, you cost him about 800 HP of damage mitigation. 800. And that's from one shift, which only heals like 200, right?
Yeah.
Well, look what happens. He's trying to swing here. He's at 200. And instead of regenning up to full shield, he's at 800 and 243. So now he has to back. He wants to swing, but he can't. And now he's not recharging any shield. Nade it again. You won't have your drone. And you're going to win this, right? But he's going to die. He literally dies for that, right?
Yeah, I see it.
And that's just and look at where you are. Still have your shift. Haven't used it. And now you lose your hold. And they might be able to retake this. Still haven't shifted. Even on the Doom dive, you need to be shifting that. There you go. Way too late. Way too late. And now you're dead because you're jumping.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I see
so that one. That one's definitely on you.
Yeah.
That one's definitely on you. Do you see what I'm saying about that? About like the snowball the fight, and that's why using these cooldowns preemptively as BAP, preemptively as Ana, allow you to cover a much wider health margin. And most importantly, that translates to a ton of space. But yeah, you managed to get the hold back. And don't be scared to shift here. Like, you're going to have it again before this next fight starts, right? Like, if you see multiple people around you crit, just use it.
Definitely see it here, yeah.
Right? Just use it. Especially if they're all at half health. And it builds your window way faster, too, which builds your win condition. And, like, BAP's best win con is his window.
I would have had it again, though, right?
Oh, yeah, that, too. Oh, you would have, like, 3 of those, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a interesting one. I don't think that's a great one. Because, again, what can think about this, right? Remember what we talked about? Oh, yeah, look, they counter window, too. What can you see with this?
Just the one choke where they're coming in from, right?
Yeah, one choke. And how hard is it for them to walk right past it to where you can't use it?
Yeah, it's not. Especially with Doom, right?
And what would have happened if you had used this right here?
A lot better.
You shoot here. You shoot here. You shoot here. Oh, they use their window. My Reinhardt holds his shield right here, and he's getting Baptiste heals through window. He's not dying. But again, you're playing like a tank, and you shouldn't be. You need to play back here like a safety.
Honestly, I would just in general I would say I think that's a bad BAP habit that I have for some reason. Like when I play Curie Zen, my positioning is a lot further back, but I guess I haven't translated that on BAP for some reason.
I think you're focused too much on damage.
Okay.
Your damage up front there just isn't useful, right? Because now you're just in the middle of a Doom peel, and then honestly they're shooting you from the side, and you got no cooldowns, and you're barely gonna live that. You save her just barely.
Yeah, I die here.
1 HP, yeah, you're gonna die. And that's stuff that you can dictate and control better. Because look at your Kyrie ult. Like, I mean, it was better. It would have been better if she used it from here, right? Because again, it's the anchor points that support, and this is a great anchor point because you see everything, and you can contribute in all 3 places. You're safe from them diving you immediately, and you have a great line of sight. So that's kind of what you want to think about. The 3 things on the anchor supports, right?
Yep.
Oh, too late. Oh, barely. Okay, good. Cutting that one close. Nice damage source. And your guy shields. Now you can walk up. Now you can walk up and shift him if you need to.
Okay.
Right? But you're going to end up winning it. There you go. Good read. The good news is that was a great one to look at because you made some pretty like noticeable mistakes that are so easy. Like, do you see this? This is what I talked about positioning, right? That's why I talked about that before. Like this, that's a thing you can change in 1 game. And then your improvement will be exponentially better. So again, that's the #1 thing I think you need to focus on for BAP is those anchor points, right? You can do everything you can here better from here because you're not at risk, right?
Yeah, I think that's again something that I do on the other heroes, but I don't know why. I think it is like the damage fall-off thing for me, where like I'm trying to make sure that I'm having impact in terms of DPS on BAP, but I guess like staying alive is so much more important, right?
Well, here's the thing: how much were you actually able to shoot them while the doofus was? You weren't, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to do more damage, it's actually better to do it through your window in the back.
Yeah.
And treat your Ryan is a carrot on a stick, right? You're the stick, he's the carrot for their team.
Okay.
So if they rush the team, you've got the stick and you just keep dangling it back, pulling it back, and then they come in here and then you Uno reverse card them and you're just lighting them up over here. And you'll get more damage done through your window on a team that's trying to dive you through here or walk out this way in tandem with your Reinhardt because you'll just be free shooting. They'll be fishing a barrel for you, right?
Yep, makes sense.
Just like you were doing on Hollywood. That's why your windows on Hollywood were so good because they were fishing a barrel for you and you were just drilling them. So That's a really, really easy adjustment for you, and I think do that and let me know how it goes.
Yeah, awesome. So what did we learn? Firstly, positioning. As a support player, you always want to be playing in a position that perfectly balances your output and danger levels. Try to stay out of range of the enemies, but just in range of your team. As long as you manage your output levels here, there's usually no reason to be stood down main right next to your tank. Secondly, don't be afraid to use cooldowns, and try to anticipate when you may need them so you can use them early. The most common example here was Immortality Field, but it applies to other supports too. Do you want a swift step on Kiriko? Go for it. As long as you don't anticipate needing to use it in the next 7 seconds, you can utilize this cooldown to stay alive, take aggressive angles, and maybe even save some teammates. If you want to up your support game even more, feel free to check out one of my support guide videos on the left now, but big shout outs to SAMITO for this coaching. I'm gonna go hit Grandmaster.